In a minute.
It's been a while. All right.
Oh, shoot. Our last episode was about us being champions, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. All right, you ready?
Old news. Yeah.
Old news, yeah. It's in the past. It's time to look forward.
Just champions for the next 11 months.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
All right, so welcome everybody. Stubby McPickle presents Double D's. It's your boy Darnell, your boy
What's
Dave.
good? What's good?
What's going on?
Not much, man. You know, it's just getting around holiday time. Thanksgiving was a blast. I made my special Gouda mac and cheese.
Ooh.
Corn pudding. You know, cranberry sauce that comes out of a can. Easy. Smoked turkey. Shout out to Brad. He hooked it up. Brad Sutton. What else? Ham. I don't know, the works. Things you get on.
Green bean casserole?
Green bean casserole.
That's my favorite.
Okay.
I know that a lot of people don't like green bean casserole. That's my favorite.
Kim made that, and it's her favorite too. She had like mushrooms and all that stuff too. It was like it was good. You know, it's not my like favorite dish for Thanksgiving, but it was good. Sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else we had.
If you give me ham
Ham was there.
and green bean casserole and mashed potatoes,
That's
that's
it.
all I need. I don't even need turkey.
Let me ask you: do you mix all your food together, or
No.
it can't touch?
It's not that it can't touch. I just don't mix it all together. I know people that'll like put everything on their plate and then mix everything together, but I don't do that.
Well, not like a Chipotle bowl, but like I will dab, and then it all kind of just sort itself into
It just depends. Like I'll do that if I'm eating like white meat turkey because it's dry.
Yeah, you need the gravy and all.
And so maybe I'll throw some of the green bean casserole or some of the mashed potatoes or something in it.
Did you have dressing?
No.
Stuffing, I mean.
Nope.
Some people call it different.
I don't care much for the stuffing.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a Thanksgiving dish, though. Like, it has to be there.
Oh, it's always there.
No, you
but
just don't get it on your plate.
No, it's not on plate. And actually, that didn't even happen for me this year. This year, I went to the Oregon coast with my family, and none of us felt like cooking. So we went out to a restaurant in Cannon Beach, Oregon, right on the ocean.
Yeah.
And I had steak and mashed potatoes, and it was fantastic. We didn't do the traditional Turkey Day food.
Man, I mean, that's all up to, you know, what people want to do on Thanksgiving. That's totally fine. Now, I would like people to drop in the comments, do you let your food touch or not?
That is a good question.
Some people are very particular. They don't want nothing touching.
Yep.
And
There's
I'm
that.
like-
There's like the separating it by the color of their food. You know, like the corn has to be here. The
Mac and cheese nearby.
yeah, like yellows, greens.
I've never heard that.
Really?
That's-
Oh, I've got a couple friends that do it. You know who you are.
Yo. You should shout him out. All right, we'll put you
I'm
up,
not
but I'm
gonna
going to
put him
ask
on
him after who
blast,
that is. But I just, for me, it's just like, I just feel like that's more work to eat your plate, to keep it separate from each other, not touching and like, rather than just devouring it, like seconds, thirds. Like I'm ready to get that quick, man. This is a day of devouring food and being thankful for it.
I eat more than anyone that I know.
Yeah.
So I'm all about devouring food, but
I don't know if you eat more than me, brother. In one sitting
oh yeah,
or just in a day?
no, in one sitting.
How many plates could you do on Thanksgiving? Full plates.
4, maybe 5.
All right.
It just depends because, like I said, I don't eat stuffing.
Yeah. Fills you up.
No, I just don't care for the taste of it.
I'm just saying that is something. That
But
can
it is
fill
something
you
that
up.
would fill you up, right? All the breadcrumbs and stuff like that. But I mean, I'll devour an entire honey baked ham.
Yeah, it's got to have that brown sugar glaze on it.
So good, so good. And mashed potatoes, endless. Green bean casserole, endless. Yeah. I eat a lot.
I mean,
it's a normal day for me to go to Subway and get 2 or 3 footlongs. Easy.
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
Jimmy John's, at least 3.
Yeah, but you wouldn't just do that normally. You would get one, but I'm good with one. Could you do 3? Yeah.
No, that's what I normally
That's what you do.
Yeah.
3 subs.
Yeah.
Footlongs.
There's a reason why I'm 6'4", 237.
Fair enough. Well, speaking on that, we hope everybody had a
Yes.
very happy and healthy Thanksgiving with your family and friends. You know, obviously the holidays are coming up, so you got to be prepared for that. Hopefully your Christmas shopping is going well. Black Friday was lit, I'm sure. Cyber Monday. I mean, I feel like everything is Cyber Monday now. Like,
Well,
there's
yes.
always
I mean,
deals.
Black Friday and Cyber Monday start 3 weeks ahead of time. But an interesting fact, 93% of Americans purchased something on Black Friday this year.
At stores. Or just
in
purchase
general.
something,
Purchased either through like an Amazon or
Interesting.
Walmart or Best Buy or in stores.
even though the deals go on for.
Forever. Yeah. They're still going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like it's never ending, really. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, so
I mean,
anyway, happy belated Thanksgiving. This will be our in-between Thanksgiving and our Christmas
yeah.
episode. So what do we got today? What are we going to talk about today?
All right. So I know we talk about sports a lot, but that's like our passion a bit. Like we love sports. We love a lot of things, but this is a time where a lot of sports is going on,
Yep.
and I want to bring up a topic for our city that I'm sure a lot of people in our city aren't happy about. The Phoenix Lakers game last night, or when it happened.
The Suns and the Lakers.
Suns,
Yeah.
the Suns and the Lakers game. It was an entertaining game. I know a lot of people are giving Devin Booker a lot of heat for just his performance in the playoff games, or however you want to say this in-season tournament that they have going on. But I think there was a controversial call at the end of this game, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where they fouled Reeves, Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves, yep.
Austin Reeves, and the ball went away. And apparently LeBron was calling a timeout. And instead of the refs calling a foul, they gave the timeout to the Lakers.
Correct.
Not a lot of happiness behind this call. What do you think about it? I mean,
Well, it's interesting because, and I haven't gone back and looked at like the slow-mos or haven't paid attention to what SportsCenter was showing or anything this morning. And I don't know the NBA rules well enough to know whether or not it's like NFL,
yeah.
right? So in the NFL, timeouts can happen right before the play clock expires. Sometimes they call timeouts right before the offensive line false starts,
Right.
which should be a penalty, right?
Right.
So then they give them the timeout as opposed to giving the defense the 10-yard penalty
Right.
or 5-yard penalty, excuse me. So I don't know how it works in the NBA. To me, it looked like he was yelling timeout before the foul happened. So if that's the case, then they should have been awarded the timeout. However,
okay.
they blew the whistle for the foul and then after the fact said, we're giving him a timeout.
Right.
That I don't think should be allowed. I think it, because even if there was a replay or anything like that and they showed that LeBron was calling timeout before the foul occurred,
Yes.
I don't think that should matter. I think you have to give the refs on the court the real-time call. And so if they called foul first, it should have been a foul.
Well, that's kind of been like, man, sorry to like tie it back to soccer, but that's kind of like the whole thing with like VAR. I know they brought this video assistant thing in, but I feel like if you call a penalty, and I know this is a rule, but say VAR, if you call a penalty, you can't call it back, even though that happened to us in the final just recently. And that's kind of like how I feel like what do referees do anymore if you're not really sticking to your initial call?
Well, I think so. It's interesting you say that because I do think that you can call it back if there is a conference of the refs. Like your sport's a little bit different because you only have the 3.
Right.
But NBA, I think they have 3 or 5. I can't
And
remember.
Moving on the court too, they're all next to the
Yeah,
players.
yeah.
Like, I can see what you're saying.
So, like, if they call a foul, and then 2 other refs come over and they say, you know what, actually it wasn't, because this happens all the time in the NFL.
Yeah.
How many times do we see pass interference calls or illegal blocking downfield or whatever, and then they go, actually, no, it wasn't.
They fix it. Yeah.
Because we have a better vantage or whatever. Like, that part I understand, but in yesterday's situation,
and in a crucial
and
moment
in
of
a
the game.
absolutely crucial moment of the game, we talk about refs really ruining crucial moments of games all the time. Like it happened to the Seahawks against the Cowboys.
Right.
Calling an absolutely ridiculous penalty at that point in the game. You know, they could have reviewed it. Everybody was like, that's not it. Like, it wasn't a penalty. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to solve that. I'm either like, if you're going to have VAR, use it all the time or don't use it at all.
Right. I mean, they knocked them out.
Yeah.
The Lakers are
The
going to go play the Bucks.
Lakers ended up winning. Now they play the Bucks.
Which it'll be a good game. I just think this last game was so entertaining that in that moment to kind of make that call, just kind of like botched it. And it kills the morale of the Suns in the moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I think the Suns were like 12-8, the Lakers were 12-9. So obviously it should have been an evenly matched game. It was a very evenly matched game. They only won by like 3 or 4, I think.
3. I think it was
3.
3. Yeah.
So, you know, now you got the Lakers at 13-9, and the Suns are at 12-9. But I don't know. Obviously very controversial. I know that nobody here in Phoenix is happy about it, especially with the way that the Suns started the season.
Right.
I think they've only had 3 games this year where Booker, KD, Beal have all played in the same game. Everybody seems to be hurt all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go based on Devin Booker because injuries are going to happen during the season. That type is part of sports. But you still have good individual ballers on both teams, I would say. Everybody's giving D Book a lot of trash because it wasn't like his best game stats-wise. But he's still a presence on the court. Like, he was still making big plays.
And still getting double-teamed.
Exactly.
Yep.
And, like, maybe it was tough for him to, you know, play his normal game with being double-teamed. That's anybody.
Yep.
You know, but he still managed to play a solid game. He had, I'm looking at the stats here, 21 points still, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. So, I mean, like, still
double-double.
I'm saying he still did a.
How many minutes did he play?
He played. It's not showing me that here. Let me check. I don't know. It doesn't say. Doesn't matter.
My guess is he probably played the majority of the game. Yeah.
I mean, to be in that close of a game, you need Devin Booker on the court. KD had a great game. He had 31 points. So it's like, you're going to cane these guys because it's an important game and, like, they may not show up to the standard that you know they can do. But being double-teamed and, you know, just playing a hard basketball team against the Lakers, like, I still think he did a good job. So
yeah, and I think that it's tough when you're at that level. I mean, obviously, I've never been at that level. You're a professional athlete, so you would know, like, when you have games like D-Book had against the Knicks, I think it was, not that long ago, 53 points, something like that, draining threes all over the place, puts himself into the history books of top scorers in the Garden. You know, like, sometimes you just don't have those games.
Right.
You know, Steph Curry doesn't go out there and have 50 points a game. Klay Thompson doesn't go out there and have 50 points a game every single game. Some days you do, some days you don't. Some days you only have 13 points.
Yeah, and I mean, that's sports, man. Like, I think, like you say with Steph Curry, like, you set this bar so high and people expect you to just be there all the time. You're striving to beat yourself. Like,
absolutely.
If you're that good, you're your best competitor, I feel like. And people expect you to play at that level all the time. Well, in sports, you don't think people are going to do their research and figure out how to stop the best player on the other
100%.
team?
I mean, that's exactly it. You know, Steph Curry, I'll go back even further. Westbrook.
Yeah.
When Westbrook averaged 30-plus a game for the whole season, he hasn't done even half that since.
Right.
And it's not because he's getting older only.
I mean, it's part of it.
It is part of it. But defenses will start guarding the guy that's scoring 55 to 60% of the team's points.
Yeah.
It happens in every single sport.
Exactly.
Football's the same way. Mahomes isn't doing what Mahomes normally does. They've kind of figured out their scheme a little bit. They still have to stop him, but they've kind of figured it out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's happening to the Eagles. It's, you know, everybody. Happened to your team multiple times.
100%. People, you have to stop people's strengths. Like, that's what's going to help you be better during the game for your team. I would say it's still tough to stop LeBron. I'm not saying that he's putting up the same number. I'm not saying he's as fast, but he's still a dominant presence on the basketball court.
Speaking of LeBron,
Talk to me.
I was so happy to see a few games ago, 2 or 3 games ago at most,
Yeah.
they finally called his ass for flopping.
Yeah, but I mean,
He did one of the most blatant flop. In fact, Instagram went crazy. Instagram and X, Twitter, whatever, went crazy. And they were like, when the NBA meets the MLS.
yeah, I mean,
It straight went soccer mode.
when I first saw flopping and I saw it from him, I was like, geez, that's worse acting than we do on the soccer field, you know? But I was just like, nobody is like making a big deal out of it. I mean, some people were when they started happening,
Yeah.
but then it became like a thing. Now people are just like, oh,
Well, now they
I'm
get
immune
fouls
to
for it.
So now it's like simulation.
Yeah.
Basically what it is in soccer. Like if you fall and don't get touched, they'll look back at it and go give you the yellow.
Yeah.
Because you're just acting.
Yep.
Which I felt
You're trying
like
to disrupt the flow of the
exactly.
game.
Which I felt like that needed to happen in basketball because it's way more noticeable in basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Like a dude touches you in the chest and you throw the ball up and fall back. I was like, come on, this has to.
Oh, yeah.
This
It's-
isn't. I mean, I know soccer has its moments where it's bad, but this is like there's only 10 of you on the court. Everybody can see you in this small. You're massive beings,
Yep.
and to flop like that on a touch,
Yeah.
crazy. But I'm glad that it's kind of being brought to light. But they made it a part of the game, so at some point it was.
They
gonna be-
allowed it to happen for so long
Exactly.
that now you're right. It is. They've allowed it to be a part of the game.
I'm just looking at referees in this case. Like, if you saw that happen as a ref, and a big 6'6" dude just flops and throws his body on the ground for being touched, and you call a foul on the guy, how can you go at home and look at yourself in the mirror and be
I know.
like,
Well, and the problem that I have with it is that you watch games like that, and specifically with the Lakers, and they call those fouls
Yeah.
where they're flopping all over the place, but then they don't call blatant fouls.
right?
And it's like, how? Yeah, that happened last night too.
Where he was upset where he didn't get it called a flagrant.
Yeah,
Devin Booker was fouled hard, man.
hard.
And-
It looked like Hack-a-Shack.
And they were even saying on like Twitter how this guy was getting tossed around, and it's like, yeah, well, they weren't calling those type of fouls for him. So it was.
But then they call a blocking foul or a reach-in foul
Mm-hmm.
from 40 feet away, and
soft
it's just like,
fouls. The consistency isn't always there.
no. And I still think that, and I know that they have committees that review the refs for every game and for every sport. I
Yeah.
know they have them, but
Feels
it
like more of
needs
a-
to be more.
I was gonna say it feels like just a slap on the wrist and
Yeah,
they're back.
it needs to be more. I mean, I think baseball probably has the best process of doing it. You know,
Yeah.
if they find that these guys are blowing stuff, especially home plate, they just don't let them ump again until
Yeah.
they go through like a whole series
Course
of
kind of
classes
thing,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. They might put them back to AAA. They might make them go and do the Marlins games
It's
where they
just a-
have 13 people there.
Just as serious as it is trying to be a pro athlete.
Yeah.
know?
Did you know that twice this Major League Baseball season that the Marlins had more people in the dugouts and on the field than they did in the stands?
And how much money did they put into that stadium that day? Every time a home run's hit, it's like a fiesta in the outfield.
So what changes it? What brings people to it?
Like to the games?
Yeah. What
No,
would-
obviously winning does.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
when
but
you
I
get
mean-
to the end and you're like in the World Series, you'll see that place packed.
really?
it's-
I don't think so. Because
You don't think it'll be-
Diamondbacks wasn't packed. Diamondbacks weren't sold out. They were in the World Series. You know how I know that they weren't sold out? Because you could buy $20 tickets to go sit in the first section, in the bottom
the
section
Diamondbacks game?
at Chase Field. Yep.
That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right, but it's the truth.
You can buy $20 tickets to
To
sit
World Series,
front row.
not front row, in the 100 section,
Oh.
the bottom sections, field level.
No, that's something don't sound right. Unless that was like a thing they were doing for the fans. Any World Series teams, those prices. Kids were telling me they were like $300 just to get like a seat higher up.
Yeah, I don't know. I have friends. My friend Thomas, he took him and his son $20 a ticket.
He must have a connect or something. All I'm saying is,
Thomas, I know you watch this, so put comments down. How did you get your $20
let us know
ticket?
how you got your tickets, because that sounds wild.
But even if you are winning, and we still see it, teams that do win, Tampa Bay, it was the same way. Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I think there's one. I would say in Florida.
You think they're just a basketball state?
I wouldn't say just basketball, but I don't think like baseball is the main. I would say just Florida in general. There's so many other things you can be doing than going to a baseball game and sitting there for 3 hours. You know, you literally right outside the stadium is the beach, the water.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so I feel like it's more of a fast life down there where people got so much going on. They're like, yeah, I can go watch this baseball game. Or I can be over here making money.
So then would you say that people go to all the Tampa Bay Lightning games because they sell out all the time because they win, or is it because it's air conditioning?
Well, maybe air conditioning, but I would say the environment and the experience going to a Lightning game is amazing. It's cool. Like going to
I've heard it's very similar to going to the Golden Knights.
Oh no, it's sick. It's awesome. Like, and I think that is a more fast-paced game, and there's a lot of body checking. It's just more involved. Like baseball, you gotta wait a long time.
Baseball's slow.
It's slow, and like I said, I feel like when you're winning, because that's a lot of teams. You look at the games, and there's maybe 100 to 1,000, not 100, sorry, 1,000 people or plus in there. But like when it gets to World Series time, you see this place totally new.
Yeah.
You know, like it's packed. So, sorry to jump off topic, but I want to speak back on the Lakers game about Austin Reeves.
All right, Austin Reeves, young kid
came in and handled his business, man.
Yeah.
Dropping 3-pointers like, bro. Let me look at it. He had 20 points. This is a kid off the bench.
Yep.
And he was playing up to the standard of LeBron. 25-year-old. You know, he had 8 3-pointers, I think. 5. He had 5. He attempted 8. 3, missed 3. Bro, in the clutch moments of games like this against top level players, this kid came to play. And he made the last point to separate them. Not the last point, but a big 3-pointer at the end of the game to separate them. I want to hear your thoughts about this kid.
Yeah, Reeves is a very consistent player coming off the bench. He's very basketball smart.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I've heard and read the most about him is that he absorbs the game from all of the players better than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I was watching this really cool thing that was on Instagram where they had Anthony Davis and LeBron James were sitting on the bench and they were talking basketball, right?
Yeah.
And they were talking about what they needed to do in the coming series. And if you watch the YouTube version of it, where you can actually see like the bigger camera angle, Austin Reeves is sitting right there. And he's just
taking it in.
He's just dialed in. You know, he's not saying a word. He's just listening to them talk. And I think that when you have players like that, that also have the ability to play, it's very, very much like, what was the guy that was there who just left this year? Caruso? The bald white guy that could dunk from anywhere but could also shoot, played great defense.
They just left him?
Yeah, it was either this year or last year he left and went to another team. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he is a very special talent when it comes to his NBA or just basketball IQ in general. He is a beautiful, beautiful shot.
Yeah, Alex Caruso.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful shot.
No, he's a shooter.
Yeah.
But like you said, he takes in all of it. Because like there was a play last night where he came around the backside and got a tip slam. And I was like, that's just awareness of the game.
Yep.
You know?
That's knowing where the defenders are going to be before they're going to be there.
Exactly. For you to get there and like jump over a rebound and just tip slam it, I think that is awareness. All players. I mean, that's happened throughout years of basketball. But that just shows me like, oh, this guy knows what's about to happen before it happens.
Absolutely.
You know, he's seeing the game well before, things happen in the game.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens with his career. I hope that I hope he doesn't stay on the bench. I hope that he gets his chance to shine and be a starter, because I do think he could be a starter. He is still pretty young.
Yeah,
But
25.
I think he's got a really good chance. So we'll see.
And he's around some good mentors, I would say.
Absolutely.
Like people have this persona of like, oh, I don't like LeBron, but he's still a good basketball player for a lot of years, so he has that experience, and he can give it off to players. So for young players, I mean, even if you like them or whatever, you don't like them, you can learn from them.
Absolutely.
You know? So that's something that I would definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
give
I
kudos to
personally
that kid
don't
on.
care much for LeBron, but
Right.
I mean, I'm not ever going to take away the fact of
What
his
he's done.
NBA skills and
Right.
what he can do. And I mean, he's been a monster of a man for years since
Yeah.
he's 16 years old.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's
and there's a reason why he's been playing for 20 plus years.
yeah. So kudos to the Lakers. Good luck against the Bucks. It's gonna
Yep.
be a tough game. Yeah. Moving on.
All right, what's next?
I want to talk about Mike Evans.
Oh, we're going to the NFL. All right.
Jump into the NFL. We're
Mike
sticking
Evans,
on
Tampa
sports.
Bay Succaneers.
Mike, I don't care if we playing bad. It's fine. But Mike Lynn Evans III, this man has made history. And it's been a pleasure watching him.
Talk to me about it.
So, 10th consecutive 1,000-yard receiving yards
Yep.
game.
Yep.
And
Season.
sorry. And boy does it in fashion.
How long has he been in the league?
He's been in the league for cut.
So my question is he the first to do it in 10 consecutive years? His first 10 consecutive years, or is it just 10 years? Like, has he
10
been in for
straight.
12? 10 straight.
1,000-yard season.
Okay.
So
I
consecutive.
think he's been in for 12 years, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, he is I want to say, what does it say? I don't know if he's the youngest to do it.
Might be the fastest to do 10 years.
Pushed Evans. Yeah, they said Randy Moss was also 10,000-yard seasons in his career, though they weren't consecutive.
Correct.
But yeah, so I mean, it just speaks volumes to this guy and how loyal he is to the Buccaneers. Obviously, I know contracts can keep you around for longer, but I think he's been a staple for the Buccaneers. So I just want.
I think that what this really shows, not just his loyalty to the Buccaneers, I think this really shows that he's able to do his job better than anyone else on that team. Because he's gone through Jameis Winston,
Yep.
Ryan Fitzpatrick,
Baker's the sixth starting
yeah,
QB.
Tom Brady. I think Hoyer was there for a year. You got Baker Mayfield now. I mean, Tampa the last 10 years has had almost as many quarterbacks as like Cleveland.
Yes.
So, it's been tough. And he consistently is there to make a play when it's needed, to run the right route when it's needed, and his hands are amazing.
They really are. I mean, I'm just sorry. I'm reading through some stuff here, and like, it says, Evans is the second wide receiver to rack up at least 10 straight seasons with 1,000 or more receiving yards in his career. Hall of Famer Jerry Rice did it so 11 times from 1986 to 1996 in his career, and had 14 total 1,000-yard seasons. Rice is currently the all-time receiving yards leader with 22,895 yards. So I mean, like, it's possible this man could pass him at some point. You don't think so?
No.
Why? All he had was 14. Yeah, is he gonna play for another?
I say no because let's just say he's at 11,000 yards right now.
Yeah.
He still has to go another 65, 6,800 yards. That's at least 6 seasons, okay? Let's just give him benefit of the doubt and he gets 6 more 1,000-plus yard receivings. That's 6 more seasons. I don't think the modern era players in the NFL play that long to do it.
Sure.
I think that there might be some that could, but generally speaking, they don't. Money gets to them. Injuries get to them.
Definitely
the new
injuries get to 'em.
policies with concussion protocols and all of that kind of stuff. And plus, on top of all of that, CTE didn't exist in the Rice era.
And it's just changed.
And it
changed
changes
the
your mentality.
of all
Yep.
players. That's true. No, that's definitely true. Yeah, but I mean, and he's also 30.
What blows my mind is the people that stay in the league the longest are linemen.
And they just constantly are running into each other.
I mean, Jason Kelsey's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Before that, and I just literally just lost his name, but he's on Thursday Night Football. He played for the Rams forever, and I don't know why I can't think of his name. I'll come back to it and think of it. But he was a lineman. He played forever. It was like 22, 23 seasons, something like that.
What do you think it is? I mean, these guys are constantly running to each other, and it's like
mentality.
I wonder if they learn a technique where like, well, I don't want to be putting my head in the way to get crushed.
Well, you also have to think with it when it comes to linemen, right? So you have maybe a yard of separation before you're hit.
And then it's quick.
And it's just off the line hit.
Yeah.
Receivers, running backs are full blown
Smashing
right into each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3, sometimes 5, sometimes 15, 20, 25, 30 yards where you've got people bigger than you running full speed and nailing you.
I feel like the main injuries, like I'm not saying that they don't run into concussion, but I think like there's a known on the line. They're like, all right, guys, all of us, like let's not go head to head here. Let's turn, hit our shoulders, and just try and hold each other.
100%.
Then on top of that is like I feel like they fear more of like being landed on by another 300-pound dude.
Absolutely.
Which is like more of the
ligament and knee
I feel like that's
ankles.
an injury that they fear a bit more.
Well, let's talk about injuries for a second. Last weekend we had another significant quarterback go down with a high ankle sprain. Luckily, it was just a high ankle sprain. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. Luckily.
Yeah, he's my but it was in the fourth quarter.
He saved your ass this week. I'm so pissed at you about that.
We'll
get
late.
to that in a second.
That was late in the game.
It was late in the game. You're lucky that he only missed 2.5 minutes. No. But on the same team, Christian Kirk, very first play of the game.
Yeah.
Catches a 26-yard pass. Nailed. Breaks his leg. Or like a core muscle or something like that in his fibula, I think it was. Injuries are just becoming more of a thing. Yeah. And I would say 25, 30 years ago, in the 90s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, players played through ankle sprains.
Yeah.
They played through broken fingers, through broken wrists. They played through it. I was watching something the other day about 2 San Francisco 49ers, 15 years ago. Both broke their hands in consecutive plays, right? They're defensive inside linebackers. They both broke their right hands in consecutive plays. Played through the game, finished the game. On Tuesday, both of them had surgery, right? Anesthesia, all that stuff, and played Thursday Night Football with big old clubs on their hands.
Yeah.
I mean, your anesthesia doesn't even wear off until Wednesday.
You see it, and you see those like games where it's like, why is that guy's hand look so massive? Oh, that dude's playing to something broken. Like, it's a quick story. My dad, when he played for the Bandits, he got tackled, and when he came to the sideline, just adrenaline's hitting you. The coach said, "Yo, look at your hand." His finger was pointing back at him, like straight back at him, and he was like, "Oh!" And he started screaming. He was like, "Ah!" And the guy said, "Quiet." Popped it back in place. Went back out to play.
Yep.
And it's just like the mentality has changed a bit, obviously, because I feel like when you hear about injuries and how, severe they can be, like you said, that changes the mindset of a player. Like, I'm not going to risk this. Like, I want to be able to.
Especially now with the tens of millions of dollars that these guys are making, guaranteed money.
You don't risk that.
You don't risk it. So I don't think, going back to Mike Evans, it's not that I don't think he can do it.
Right.
I just don't think he will.
Yeah. No, that it makes sense. He's also 30 years old.
The only person right now that I think could possibly get close to Jerry Rice is Tyreek Hill. And I'm not a fan of Tyreek Hill. But the dude's like 516 yards away from 2,000 this year alone.
It says that Julio Jones is the closest active player to Rice.
Yeah. Who does Julio Jones play for, and how many yards does he have this season? Exactly my point. Nobody knows anymore because once he went to the Titans, his career ended. When he left Atlanta, his career ended. He did a little bit in Tampa.
He did. I remember Julio Jones. Prove us wrong, Julio.
Come out of the woodwork,
Want to see
Come
you
on,
thrive.
free agent.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to speak on that. I know
we're
not
definitely big props to Mike Evans for sure.
I know we're not doing well right now.
He's the only reason why you guys have 4 wins.
But speaking on that, we have a big game against The Falcons.
I guess you have 5 wins now.
Do we? No, we're 5-7.
Yeah, you're 5 wins now because you just won.
Right, we're 5-7.
Okay.
Falcons are 6-6.
Yep.
This is a big game for us to become tied in first in the NFC South. Let's speak on the NFC. I know you wanted to.
Yeah, the NFC is interesting, isn't it?
It is.
So, I think the NFC is it's a stronger candidate to win the Super Bowl this year. Whoever comes out of the NFC, in my opinion, is going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If you look at the AFC right now, they're they're in shambles. The AFC, they don't know who the Chiefs are. We don't know who the Bills are. The Bengals don't have Burrow, and they look atrocious. Jacksonville's playing their ass off, except for Trevor Lawrence just got hurt.
Yeah.
Now, yes, I am a Washington State Cougar. However, the backup quarterback in Jacksonville is a University of Washington graduate, so he's a Husky. And, I have to say, though, I was rooting for him to do well in the game. He did play well.
To come in that late.
To come in that late, completely cold, and Trevor Lawrence never misses the time. So this was a big one. But getting back to it, AFC, nobody knows what's going on. NFC, you got the Philadelphia Eagles, you got the San Francisco 49ers, you got the Dallas Cowboys. I guess with the AFC, you could say Baltimore, but I still don't really know who's going to show up that time either. But let's talk about the NFC, as you said. So, Turkey Day, San Francisco beat the living crap out of Seattle. Mm-hmm. It was super disappointing. It was in Seattle.
Yeah.
We were all ready. We have our food in front of us, and our wine or beer, whatever, and we were ready to watch this game. And the electricity at the beginning of the game, it was amazing.
Vibes were immaculate.
And we got absolutely stomped. So, I was really hoping to see what Seattle would do against Dallas, because we had back-to-back Thursday night football games. So this last Thursday we had Dallas in Dallas.
Yeah.
We weren't really sure what was going to happen. We weren't sure how Geno was going to respond. We still didn't have Kenneth Walker, which is killing us right now. He's our 1,000-yard rusher. Mm-hmm. But Seattle came to play. And I hate to say this, but so did Dallas. And CeeDee Lamb tore apart our defense. And our defense is our identity in Seattle. We lost that game, super close. Back to our original topic, super controversial call at the end of that game. But anyway, we lost. So this last weekend, probably the biggest game on the slate of all the NFL was San Francisco and Philadelphia.
Yep.
Top 2 teams in the NFC, period. What was going to happen? The last time these 2 teams played was in the NFC Conference Championship last year. San Francisco did not have Brock Purdy. Philadelphia Eagles won. This year, this game last weekend, Brock Purdy catapulted into the MVP lead. He demolished the Eagles. And on top of that, I'm still pissed off at the NFL for allowing this to happen. But when the 49ers got Chase Young on their defense, the 49ers have become the complete team in the NFL. Their special teams is amazing. Their defense is incredible. Their offense is firing on all cylinders, with Brock Purdy being calm, cool, and collected. And I don't care. Talk all the shit you want to that he throws short slant routes and all that stuff.
Queen Creek native, by the way.
That's right, Queen Creek. Perry Pumas, I believe. Mm-hmm. But Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, obviously Christian McCaffrey, who is a beast. I hate to say that I think that they're unstoppable. I do think that they'll win out, which bums me the hell out, because this Sunday we have to play them again in Santa Clara. So I don't know, but
when a team gets hot and they beat the top team, I mean,
And Philly barely got away the week before.
I don't know. I mean, look.
It's going to come down to Philadelphia. It's going to come down to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Dallas, you can't win a fucking playoff game. Excuse my language, but you can't. And for all of you Cowboys fans, tough. Get over it right now. Go to Goodwill and buy a bunch of old like tube televisions so that when you lose in the first round of the playoffs, you can go and break those instead of your $400 or $500 flat screens. Because I'm tired of seeing those videos on the internet.
Yeah, why is that like a thing? Why are people just breaking their nice TVs?
Because they're Cowboys fans.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's that necessary. Whatever.
It's not necessary. That's just what
Passion,
they
I
do.
get it.
Anyway, that was the answer to my NFC question. And by the way, screw you, fantasy football, because I finally had a great week.
My boy, yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence,
I look back. When I saw that injury, because I wasn't actively looking at it, when I saw that, I was like, dang. But then I realized when it happened,
yeah, 2.5 minutes left.
killed it, bro. 31 points. Yeah, no, he saved my week. My week was kind of trash.
I think that put me into 9th and you into 7th or something like that.
I've been in 7th. I never left.
Well, before the game, I was ahead of you.
That's fine, but it never changed on my thing. It always said 7th of 12.
Yeah, okay.
We're fighting in the lower levels, but I mean,
Hey, as long as we're not last. Right now,
I was last for a minute,
Right
bro.
now, we're fighting for don't be second to last because the guy who's in last place quit, so he's not doing anything, so we don't count him. But just don't be second to last.
don't be 11th.
Yeah, don't be 11th.
Okay,
Anyway, what's next?
jump into NCAA football. I know we've been
NCAA,
talking about
yes.
football, but I want to jump on this topic about compensating athletes. And I know you might know a little bit about that already. I need to find the article I was looking at.
Yeah, so I'll kind of jump into it first. So as we all know, over the last year and a half, 2 years, the NCAA has allowed, due to court stuff and whatnot, but they've allowed college athletes now to be compensated to play through the NIL. And NIL, name, image, and likeness,
Yes.
really happened because of a couple guys from UCLA that used to play basketball back in the 90s, the O'Bannon brothers. They sued the NCAA. They said, you're making all this money from all your video games and all your jersey sales from us,
Right.
from our likeliness of these video games, from our names and all that kind of stuff. Well, eventually they won. So now athletes are getting paid basically like sponsors. That's how it currently is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you. Did you find your article?
No, I mean, but I remember what I was reading about, and
Well, I've got it pulled up.
I sent it to you. That's
Yeah,
right.
you
That's
sent
what I
it
was
to me.
looking for. Sorry.
So something very, very recently has happened where now athletes are going to be able to be paid in a different form. So this is the NCAA president is proposing basically a subdivision, I think is how they pronounced it, right? So it's a subdivision that's going to allow the schools themselves to directly compensate the athletes.
Yeah.
So no longer Reebok or Ford or any of that kind of stuff. It's literally coming from the college.
Yeah.
And we're talking millions of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading here. It says membership in the new subdivision would be voluntary, but would require an investment of at least $30,000 per year into an educational trust fund for at least half of the total number of athletes.
Yeah, that's per athlete.
Per athlete.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
that comes down to like $6 million or something.
Yeah, so I think I read that article, and I think that in there they talk about Ohio State, and in Ohio State they have 1,000, or excuse me, yeah, it was like
approximately 1,000.
approximately
athletes.
1,000 athletes.
Yeah.
So that's $6 million
Yeah.
per year. That the university.
No, 15 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were at 15 million. I think they had like 30,000 or something like that. But,
In 2022. That's crazy. That is just.
or 10,000.
But it says in 2022, OSU athletics made $250 million in revenue.
Yeah.
So
Right. So now you're going to get me kind of going off on a tangent. But first of all, I hate the idea of paying college athletes. I absolutely hate it. And I'll tell you why. When I was at Washington State University, my roommates, other than my very first year, my roommates were all football players.
Yeah.
They all played for the football team, starting for the football team.
Yeah.
They wanted for nothing. Right? I shouldn't say that. They needed for nothing. They wanted a lot more, but they needed for nothing.
Right.
They were given clothing,
Everything.
shoes, food. I mean,
Transportation.
football players at Washington State University have the best food. Anytime you walk into the locker room, there's food.
Lit up.
Everywhere.
It's like
It's
Thanksgiving.
like buffet tables everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like you were given a sandwich and told, to go home and then go to the dining hall.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that at all.
All right.
And this is 23 years ago.
Yeah.
They're given scholarships, and for our program, the majority of them were full scholarships. So they didn't have to
worry about
need
anything,
to pay
really.
for tuition.
And they didn't have to worry about anything.
Ever. And so, housing. They didn't have to pay for their housing because that's part of their scholarship.
Yep.
So I've always had a problem with the idea of paying college athletes. This is why I've said for so long that I would much rather watch college sports in general than any professional sport.
Yeah.
Because at that point, they played for the love of the game. They played because maybe that was their only option.
Yeah.
But they wanted to do something within that sport, and they wanted to be special so they could move on to that elite level.
Exactly.
The biggest issue that I have right now with this proposed deal is this is 100% about athletics. Where do you think these schools are going to get the money to pay for this proposed new deal? I can tell you right now, it is not going to be from their $250 million profit. It's going to be from cutting departments. It's going to come from raising tuition.
Yep.
It's going to come from raising housing. It's going to hurt the other 97% of people that go to college that are not athletes on these teams.
Yeah, I mean, because I was wondering that is like, not every school has to do it, and they're trying to find a framework where you're not separating this subdivision where there's going to be like 2 leagues within colleges now.
But they still say on there they can still play against FBS and SCS teams.
FCS, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like,
they're going semi-pro.
exactly. It's now you're
be
buying
in it.
players really,
Shouldn't be in the NCAA.
and like
It should be a USFL.
it should be its own entity, because now you're going to be having like elite teams, and then I feel like teams that can't really compete.
And we already have that.
Right.
We
right.
already have the elite teams.
Strictly because of like what the college is. So my thing is like being a student athlete, like it would have been nice to have like extra money, but like anybody feels that way.
Sure.
Everybody wants
I want it now.
extra dollar here now, but I'm trying to figure out, is that going to stunt growth for student athletes? Because I mean, I don't know what
Absolutely.
their framework looks like. I don't know if they have courses that are going to teach kids like, look, man, you can't just blow through this money. But I feel like we don't have that now, and kids are getting paid through what is it, NIL? And it's like, all right, are kids just
Yeah,
okay
but see,
with
the NIL is also allowing you to get an agent. And so that's what's happening is kids, and they are kids,
that's the
are
thing.
not learning how to manage their stuff because they have agents now that manage it, or their families are managing it. And we all know what happens.
Yeah.
They get totally taken advantage of, and their money's gone.
But that's what I'm trying to like figure out. Like, are they even looking at that aspect of it?
Maybe,
Because
maybe not.
maybe the top athletes are gonna be fine because they're gonna make it to the league, do whatever. But like, I just feel like we're not really educating them. I mean, maybe they're gonna put like an educational piece within it.
It does say in there that there's still academic requirements for them to qualify and to stay on that program and all of that. But I think the education you're talking about is like money management,
Money
wealth
management,
management,
right.
Future. What are you going to do about your future
Yes.
kind of stuff? I would really hope that somebody is smart enough to say that it has to be done.
Because I just feel like you being a kid, getting that money in college, you're the man.
I mean, you're
Especially if at
talking
a big
about
college or the woman.
The
Either way.
thing that blows me away too is with the transfer portal now, you have players that have 7 years of eligibility.
Yeah. So they'll be there.
That's what, $210,000?
It's like striving to be at college, and that's what, like, I just want to go play in college and like make it.
Why would you need to do anything else?
Right. You don't need to like, and that's where that competition element goes. Kind of like, oh man, like I can be a kid and live like a sick life in college and be a 7-year semi-pro.
I'm gonna tell you right now. That's why teenagers don't go out and get jobs.
So, you know, they
Is
can
because they'd rather stream their video games, and that's how they're gonna become rich. So now they have no work ethic. They don't know the real world.
but the world is changing.
The world is changing, but
And if that's a
what
way
is
to
not
make-
going to change is learning how to pay your bills, making sure you have health insurance, taking care of yourself physically and mentally,
Yeah.
not locking yourself in a room, or in an athlete's case, taking this money and going and blowing it and being stupid, and then more opportunities for getting in trouble.
Yeah. I would say with the whole like agent thing, like obviously I don't know every kid's situation, but like influencers and things like that, they have an agent. Like if they're making a certain amount of money and their agent is making good money, like I feel like all their stuff is because I see these kids with mansions, their own mansions. I'm sure there's a whole other side of it that I'm sure Netflix or somebody will make a documentary of like the failed influencer or the failed. And I'm curious because I haven't seen that. Like maybe it's out there, but I'm curious to see like, well, what has happened to these kids? Like, because they have no, like you said, there's no work ethic.
Go and watch David Spade's Dickie Roberts' former child star.
Okay.
It's a comedy, obviously. It's
Yeah.
Dave Spade, but dude, like that's what happens to all child stars.
Yeah, because it's literally that. You're right.
It's
man.
the same thing. They're kids. Their parents or an agency, whatever, manages their money for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're homeschooled or whatever, and that's fine because they still need to have their education. But when it comes time for them to start taking over their own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
either A, they can't because their money's gone. B, their parents or their agent has wrapped it up so badly in the legalities of it that they have no access to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or C, they're strung out on some kind of drug because they have money and they have nothing else to spend it on.
They don't know what to do with it, really. Yeah, man.
Corey Haim. Look at he's Corey Feldman.
Yeah,
River Phoenix, rest in peace.
it's true, man.
I mean, somebody I will say, like Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
I used to watch Will Wheaton when he was in Star Trek Next Generation. I loved Will Wheaton. I thought he was great. You know, Wesley Crusher, what's up? You know, he didn't hardly do anything until The Big Bang Theory.
Right.
And he tried. But now he parodies himself when it was still on television on The Big Bang Theory. You see it all the time. You see all of these Macaulay Culkin finally got his walk on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah,
But look what happened to him over the last 25 years.
But it's even like the character that he has to portray. Like I saw him on American Horror Story, and they had him like as a crackhead.
That's because that's what he was.
I understand, but what I'm saying is like when you hear Macaulay Culkin, you think Home Alone, like this fun little kid.
Yeah.
Home Alone.
Sort of innocent little kid.
Yeah. And then obviously, like you grow up and like we see it like, oh, that's Macaulay. Like realistically, that's just kind of how kids would see it growing up. Like even superheroes, kids believe that superheroes are real.
Yeah.
And they grow up thinking that, and then they have rude awakening.
You know what's kind of funny is like I look at Macaulay Culkin now and I think Kieran Culkin from Succession.
Yeah, his little brother.
His little brother,
Yeah.
who plays like the biggest asshole ever in Succession, you
Yeah.
know? But like that, I feel like, and maybe I'm totally wrong on this, but I feel like Kieran kind of based his character on Macaulay. And that's a prime example, Macaulay Culkin, of whose parents took complete advantage of the money that he was making, and then it ruined him, and he became addicted to drugs and alcohol and parties and jail time and all that. Robert Downey Jr., same thing. Young child actor, addicted to cocaine, spends time in jail. Amanda Bynes, Lindsay Lohan.
Changed, yeah. I mean, some of them made a bounce back, but some of them, I don't see it like.
Yeah, and so I'm just really afraid. I'm afraid for the athletes for that reason.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, my biggest issue is what's going to happen to the universities and what's going to happen to the other 95% of the kids that are not athletes. Because
that's a big concern. Now
there's already been so many cutbacks, and particularly as being a musician, what they've done to the arts programs. I can't speak for every school. I can speak for Washington State, though, and for Eastern Washington University. And what they've done on the cutbacks of the arts programs is absolutely disgusting.
And it's strictly due to what I feel like it's changed. What does your program bring the school?
Absolutely.
And that's kind of like sad
It's the
because
only
it
thing
shouldn't
that they
be
look at.
that. It should be what is the school being able to give
To the
individual.
kids.
Yeah, the kid.
It's
that's
the
coming
only
to-
thing they look at. You're not paying the head of the music department $7 million a year.
Right.
But you have no problem with paying a head coach $7 million a year for your football team, even though you're going to fire his ass after 2 years if he doesn't win.
Do you feel that the school, maybe their rebuttal is, well, there's schools for music, there's schools for art, like that's where they should go. You know, I mean, I'm not like advocating for that by any means. I'm just trying to say, like, could that be their rebuttal to, like, yeah, we
Okay.
have art here. And
Okay,
that-
I'll let you be devil's advocate for that. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Then I would respond with this: if you're going to Washington State University, if you're going to cut the arts programs as much as you have, drama, musical theater, and the music departments, and all the other arts, if you're going to cut those drama departments and all those other things because you need to pay for the athletes, then you're wrong.
yeah,
If you're going to cut those departments and you're going to then divide that money that you're now quote unquote saving, put it into your architectural programs, put it into your pharmaceutical programs, put it into your farming programs, your agriculture, because that's what the school's known for. Veterinary, that's what the school is known for. None of the money that's been cut has gone to those departments. None of it. It's all gone to athletics. It's gone to making Martin Stadium better. It's gone to making Beasley Coliseum better. It's gone to paying the coaches that they have to bring in. And now paying players.
Oh, okay, let me ask you.
I don't disagree with you.
No, I'm saying,
Berkeley.
no, I think kids would rather go to an art school if they're trying to.
I wanted to go to Berkeley School of Music.
Right. My question is that money, because obviously they're making some money back to be able to do this. I don't think they would do all these enhancements, not paying the players and the coaches, more towards the school to get money back in some way. Do you think that they're getting a kickback from like all the enhancements that they're doing there, and maybe bringing in athletes that are like name, image, likeliness?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by kickback, but I do know that Washington State University over the last, let's just say, 10 years has made a lot more money from their athletics because of Mike Leach, because of, I would say, a kind of a resurging program when it comes to football. Basketball, our basketball team is better. The women's basketball team is great. Our women's volleyball team is like number 8 in the country, something like that. So, yeah, I do think that they make money from athletics. I'm not saying that they don't. Even with their enhancement, of course they do, because they charge more at the concessions and all of that as well. But you're talking about a single-digit percentage of young adults that attend your college for academics. Now, you take the 95% of people that are not in athletics. Those 95% that are there to learn to be a computer engineer, an architect, or a drama teacher, or an educator of some kind, anything like that, those are the people that are going to join your alumni network. Those are the people that are going to now turn around and, like myself, be a platinum alumni and donate to the schools every year.
But it's part of an experience as a college student. Like, you want to be able to attend the football games and do all the things that the college has.
Sure.
Maybe there's a lot that are like, I don't care.
And as a student, I have to pay to get into the student section.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a thing for us. We just had to show our card. But, yeah, I don't think that should be. Like, you're already paying to go to the school or whatever, get a scholarship. You work to get to this point in this school, and now you're having to pay to do that. I think that's, extreme, especially for one of your own.
I think if you're a student and you go to any athletic event, you should be able to eat, you should be able to drink, and you should be able to attend for free.
Yeah, especially with the amount of money that they
That's exactly my point.
But, like, my main thing is to cut a different program when all this is going on. I feel like that's wrong. Because those kids got into that school to do.
I'll guarantee you right now, follow your own school. FAU, right?
Yeah, I'll look into
Follow your own school if this gets approved. I'll follow Washington State University, and I'll follow Eastern Washington University. I follow Eastern because that's where it's based. Cheney is right next to Spokane, my hometown. My parents both taught at Cheney, so I'm very familiar with Eastern Washington University, especially in the arts departments. But follow them.
Yeah.
Follow and see what happens if this gets proposed. Find out where that money is going to come from. I'm telling you right now, it is not going to come from the revenue that they're making from athletics.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be...
Unless they put in the laws that say the Big 10 or what, now it's going to be Big 16 or whatever, you're going to make, $300 million a year for your TV contracts, so you have to take that money out of that. But I guarantee you it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I just read this here. It says...
It doesn't say anywhere in there where they're going to get the money from.
No, it just says how to create more permissive and flexible rules across the NCAA that put student athletes first. And that quote there, like student athletes first. And it's just kind of like...
It's a small percentage of the universities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that right now we're pretty much only talking about football athletes. Obviously, there are other athletics. If it doesn't go to every single sport, I'm going to be furious.
No, I think it says...
needs to go to golfers, to swimmers, to polo players, to...
I think it said... I don't think it was just...
it does say all athletes.
Yeah, and it said it has to be...
50% of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So then where do you draw that line?
Yeah, that's true. But then it also said... It said something about women's as well.
No, it says that it has to cover them.
Yeah, it has to cover all.
Yeah. But where do you draw the line of 50%? You got 100 people on your football program.
Well, what are they doing now? Not every player is getting paid like each player on the team.
No,
It's
you
like
have,
the same
you
with
have your
scholarships.
walk-on. Yep, you have your walk-ons and
I mean,
stuff
it's
like
similar.
that.
Like it's what you. I mean,
But if you give somebody 100% scholarship who now goes to school for free,
but that's
and,
another thing. It's separate from scholarships.
Yeah,
like that is.
and you're going to give him 30 grand or her. I don't know. I think there's a lot of details that still need to be, of course, ironed out, but also revealed to us.
Yeah. I mean,
But I don't like it.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
also
maybe
think
I'm
they
salty
need to-
about it because that didn't happen when I went to school. Maybe we feel different if we were one of the athletes getting the money, but even then, I still think like morally, it just doesn't really make sense because you.
I also think that all of the athletes that got in trouble and got their careers ended and got their Heismans taken away need to go back and sue. I think Reggie Bush needs to come back and say, give me back my Heisman Trophy, reinstate all of the wins and the national championship that you took away from us because I took money to live when I played at USC.
Mm-hmm. And now they're just kind of...
Because now they're just paying everybody. At the very minimum, give him back the wins and give him back his Heisman. At minimum. Who does that harm? Nobody. It harms absolutely nobody.
Yeah,
he got the Heisman because he was still on the field doing his job.
He still had to do a job. He's still a player.
Pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, that was something. I mean,
I can go on for hours. Let's go next topic.
Well, that was where kind of my big topics.
Is that it? We're gonna end on a negative. All right.
No, we don't have to. We can talk about Mike Evans again.
No.
No, I mean, what else? What do you got?
No, I mean, I just I kind of want to. I'll just kind of wrap it up. Today was a lot about sports.
It was.
Right. So one of the things of the feedback that we're getting is we talk way too much about sports, and the people that want to talk more about other stuff. But this is gonna be the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Lots of sports. However, next episode is going to be our Christmas episode. It's going to be
Jolly.
I'm gonna throw in some other stuff too. I've got some real estate information I think people need to know here at the end of the year.
Sure. If you guys have anything, topics you want us to talk about, questions of the day, shoot them to us.
As always, please put some comments below. I see y'all watching it. We see the views. We don't see enough comments. We need to have more comments. Absolutely, 100%. We appreciate you. We want you to keep watching it. Tell us what you guys want to talk about. What do you want to know about us? What do you want to know about what's going on in our industry, whether it's real estate or it happens to be, education for me and teaching, the golf world. Huge news happened in the golf world with John Rahm. We can talk about that another time because we talked so much sports this time.
Yeah.
Ask Darnell what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything.
we got more stuff coming up. So thank you guys as always for watching. Appreciate every single one of you. Glad and hope that you all had a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Yes, yes, yes.
And as always,
Smash that subscribe button, like, all the good stuff. And yeah, keep following us. We love you guys. Appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Make sure you're sharing it with other people too, and comment below. Until next time.
Till next time.
We interrupt this program to bring you